Thank you very much for the invitation. It is indeed very interesting to be here, not only as a German, but also as a German, and witness your discussions. However, I would like to concentrate really on the topic of this panel, which lies, I think, at the core of the discussions we are having here, because after all, it is about the future of our countries, of Europe, and I think it's fair to say that in a general way, we all agree that investment is key to more growth and higher employment. I think that's the borderline, we can agree. But I would like to explore this a little bit more and maybe draw a little bit more differentiated image. And I'm quite happy actually to be able to be in a position where we in Germany, we are not at the forefront of the economic development, of the investment development, but we are rather in the middle, and we have something to do in this area as well. Where do we stand? We see an investment percentage of 45% in China, of 20% in Germany, 22% in the Eurozone, and I'm afraid 10% of GDP in Greece. So I will not elaborate on the percentage, where do we need to end up. But I think it is fair to say that we need to define what we mean when we talk about investment, because I think we should make it quite clear that we talk about public and private investment. In Germany, and I think that's approximately the normal share, 90% of the investment is made, of course, by the private sector and only 10% by the public sector. So we have to improve the environment for the private sector, and that is very important. Of course, we have to boost public investments as well and set the right conditions for that. In Germany, we in the economics ministry, we have launched an investment agenda, an investment initiative, because as I have said, we believe that a percentage of investment of 20%, a bit more than 20%, is not enough for a highly industrialized country like Germany. And then we have looked a little bit into the topic, and obviously, of course, have found out that it's not about investment in a very general term, but you have to really look at the different areas and then see what can it bring about. And of course, if you invest in infrastructure, if you invest in education, if you invest in higher education, then you see very high fiscal benefits, and you see, of course, very high benefits as of the GDP effect as well. According to our studies, if you invest in these areas, you realize GDP increase by a bit more than 10% over time, and it will be fiscally beneficial, at least in the German context as well, within the time framework between 10 and 20 years. So in a general way, it is very sound and very rational to invest in these areas. That is the public domain. But of course, I've said 90% of the investments are being done in the private sector, and that leads us really to the core questions we are discussing as well at this Delphi Economic Forum. Because of course, you need to create an investment-friendly environment in your country and of course as well in Europe. And there I think I can draw on many of the topics that were addressed and on many of the panels the last days. Because of course this task is quite big and it comprises many different areas. But I think one element is key, it's very important, and that is you need to create an environment businesses trust. You need to create trust, and then there's this other beautiful word that is ownership of the necessary reforms, and yes, as well, structural reforms that you need to do in order to arrive there, to arrive at a more investment-friendly environment. And I've witnessed the panel this morning on structural reforms, and I think structural reforms are important, and of course they are not one-dimensional. Structural reforms can encompass a huge variety of different tasks, starting from the modernization of the administration, and that is of course an immensely important project. The modernization of the judicial system, that's a very important aspect as well, to create an investment-friendly environment, and of course reforming the tax system and so on. So to put it short, structural reforms are not right or left. You just have to do the right structural reforms. But I think they are very, very important in order to arrive at an investment-friendly environment. Of course, there are other elements, like the educational system. The educational system is very important as well in order to actually educate the people that they feel fit for the economic system we are having. This were like just very few broad sketches on what you need to do to improve, and we have been discussing it at length for the forum for the private sector on the national levels. I would like to quickly move on just to say a few words on the European level, because of course we are all very much affected by the European rules, and there obviously the Stability and Growth Pact is our basic law, and I think it's fair to say that we need to have a Stability and Growth Pact which is not perceived only, and there I have always very, very intense discussions with my friends from the finance ministry in Germany, that it's not only about stability, it's also about growth. You need to create a framework that is growth friendly. And of course that is difficult to say what that means then in practice. I think there are the little reforms we need to make and to see how can the pact be adapted to changing realities. And that means we have already, and the Commission has done I think, very good work as well, to identify possibilities, to use its flexibilities and to identify flexibilities. But I think we should probably move on and reward countries which are courageous, which do undertake structural reforms and do invest. And then we should actually say, okay, it's fair for you that you can deviate to a certain degree